Welcome to Cottage Talk Full Time. I'm Russ Goldman. Joining me right now is Emilio Danello. This is our initial reaction show to Fulham's dominating, and I mean dominating, 2-0 victory against Everton at Goodison Park. Emilio, Fulham make their own history, as I put in the title. I've heard so much about how Fulham do terrible and they cannot win, how many years it goes back at Goodison Park. They broke history. History records were made to be broken, and they did it, and they did it in a dominating way. Your thoughts? Let's get right into it.
Come on, you Whites. Come on, finally. We've been waiting 2.5 months for this, to be honest. It's, records are there to be broken, Russ. Haven't won a league game at Goodison Park. That record's gone.
Yep.
22 consecutive defeats in the league against Everton away from home. That's gone. This is exactly the springboard we need. And this resort's been, I think this has been coming. I'm not saying, we've lacked one thing the last 2.5 months, goals, quite clearly. Most of the season, but particularly the last couple of months, we just haven't been scoring goals. But maybe we found our goal poacher that we need. Maybe in the right place for both those goals. But overall, very impressive performance. It's the team were up for it right from the word go, right from when the whistle went. Even you saw Madger, starting the game before they took the, to the knee. Everyone had to go on their knee, and then the game had to restart. You could see Fulham were keen, enthusiastic, and they wanted this game more than Everton. And to be honest, we dominated for the entire game. To be honest, we were fresh, we were strong, we passed the ball neatly, we created chances. The difference today is we scored. Yes, we created chances and we scored from them. One difference there is just the fact, we've potentially got a goal scorer here who can get us out of this mess. But it gives us hope. Not many people expected a victory today. We've got it. Let's carry on. Let's do the job on Burnley and Sheffield United. But this result was coming. We've been banging on about it for 2.5 months. Tottenham away, we should have got a victory. Liverpool at home, we should have won. West Ham last week, we dominated, didn't score. We've been knocking on the door to create a performance like this. And finally that's come now. This will give the team much confidence going into these next 3 games, which are crucial, all winnable games.
Yes,
all winnable. Park, there's no reason we can't go to Turf and break that record as well.
That's right.
So this has been a good weekend. Napoli beat Juventus yesterday. Now Fulham beating Everton at Goodison Park. I've had a very good weekend.
Good for you, Emilio. I know how much Napoli winning means to you. And then, of course, we have this victory today. And what's interesting, but I'm glad that you said this, I saw this coming, and again, they've been knocking on the door, and I've been waiting for them to basically break it down, and they broke it down. I did predict 2-1, so I guess I got my prediction wrong, but I'll take 2-0. I'll take a 2-0 victory any day of the week. I'll take it. But what's interesting about this, and we'll go through this in our show here, is that, as I keep saying, it's a dominating performance, but it's a combination, and I know you're going to agree with me on this. You talked about the finishing, but they had the effort. They were missing the finishing, but they've always had the effort. They always had the endeavor. They were they were pressing the hell out of Everton. They were at it for 90-plus minutes. But this time, they had the finishing. This time, it didn't look like that in the first half. We'll talk about that because that made me a little bit concerned. I tweeted that out. But from the get-go in the second half, they finally finished, Emilio. So like we're talking about, dominating performance, my friend.
Yeah, absolutely. I think let's also look at the starting lineup, to be honest. And I think when I saw Robinson had been dropped, I was actually quite encouraged by that, to be honest. I think I've said it on the last few shows straight after the game. Since he came back from the suspension against Chelsea, he's not been the same player. His crossing, not good enough. And he's been caught out of possession a few times and leaving a lot of gaps in the back. So give Scott Parker some credit. He dropped Robinson. He put Aina on the left. And to be honest, we looked comfortable. We looked more organised, more compact, passing the ball more neatly.
We looked like the team that was in the top 10. We looked like the team,
We looked a different team. West Ham gave us more problems. They pressed us harder. But what we lacked against West Ham was just some clear-cut opportunities and actually letting their keeper make some saves. But here, Madger was in the right place at the right time. We were creating opportunities. And I thought in that first half, here we go again, dominating the first half and got nothing to show for it. But to be honest, to go then on second half and just push on and create those 2 early goals, it's just fantastic performance. But all credit to Scott Parker for making that change and taking off Robinson. I actually thought we looked better balance, better shape. We didn't get exposed defensively when Robinson likes to go forward.
No.
And when his crossing's weak, give the ball away, he gives possession away, he's got a lot to track back. And that's when we get caught out a few times. But I thought the team looked much more better shape, better structure, and we looked more composed on the ball. And overall, it was a fantastic team performance. So well done for making that change, Scott Parker. And we've got to carry on this. 4-4-2 works. Everyone was heroic tonight. Let's be honest, everyone was heroic. I can't afford any effort today, including.
Who do you give the man of the match? We'll talk about that because this is really a team victory. Mm-hmm. We have to just start there, Emilio. And the one thing that I do want to mention, because we are talking about the starting 11 when you talked about Aina, but I want to also talk about Lookman, because on that left-hand side, the two of them were causing Everton all kinds of problems, and we really saw in the second half. But in the first half, it was there too, just causing all kinds of problems, and they were comfortable doing it. They were in complete control.
Everyone, just Loftus-Cheek looked strong. Some positive runs in that first half. Actually, Lookman, I thought was not very. Was quite poor in the first half. I'm going to be honest again. Same old. He had a good chance in that first half. Should have done better.
He did.
The deflection, but you look on the replay, he just scuffed his shot. And sometimes it's just his crossing's not good. That final ball is not good enough from Lookman. He just doesn't look the same player. He's got bags of potential, but for me, he was probably our worst player today. I'll be honest with you. I thought of all the players, I thought Lookman didn't really do much. I just thought in the first half in particular, just too lightweight, wants too many touches.
No, I see where you're going on that.
He was greedy. He went for a long range shot outside the penalty. Get in that box more often. I keep saying, take your man on, get in the box, square the ball into the 6-yard box. Now you've got Madja. You need width. You need be more direct. And I thought Lookman was poor first half again. I just think he's not the player he was pre-COVID. And, he was a player we said he needs to stay fit, and he's the one who's going to cause, defense's problems. He's struggled, to be honest. He's not the player he was, and he's no longer our threat anymore.
Yep.
You got Loftus-Cheek, I thought, had a great first half. Tete made some exceptional defense.
He was great too. Listen, there are so many places where we can go. I just want to share this comment because this goes with me talking about some other players. Harrison and Tete dominated, because I was going to mention Harrison Reed. Harrison Reed, I thought, ran the show, Emilio.
No, he was my man of the match. I know Madge scored 2 goals, but he did his job. His job is he's there to score goals. He was in the right place at the right time. But Harrison Reed just ran his socks off the whole game. Looked lively, looked strong, good crossfield passes. Even had a shot himself, which wasn't too far from the top corner. So Harrison Reed, for me, did run the show, and I thought he bossed that midfield and by far was my man of the match. By
great.
Mile.
Okay, very good. Okay, well, as we talk about the positive, we do have to talk about the negative as well, because we're balanced here, my friend. We're balanced, and we don't want to get too high because, again, there's a lot of the season still to come ahead for Fulham, and they have a lot of work to do. So, again, this is a huge victory, but we still have to talk about what happened in the first half. So let's start here. Fulham dominant in the first half, but nothing to show for it, Emilio. I tweeted this out. I was concerned because I thought that Carlo Ancelotti would make adjustments at halftime. We would see something similar that happened against West Brom. And again, like halftime adjustments. Obviously, that didn't happen, thankfully. But when you look at the first half, and I'm just listening to the commentary, there was only one team on top. It was Fulham, but I've seen this movie before, Emilio. What was going wrong with so much positive play? They just couldn't finish.
Yeah, exactly. You look at that first half, right from the word go, from the first second, we only had one thing in mind. We knew, the players were up for it. I think it was quite clear. Everton looked a little bit lethargic. I'm not defending them at all here, but they looked lethargic. They missed Calvert-Lewin. They offered little threat up front. I think that was to our advantage. But we needed a bit of luck. How many times have I been going on about this show? We just need a bit of luck. Yep. Even when we hit the post in that first half, couldn't have just got it. Couldn't have just squeezed in. And just the luck, just that luck we're just not having in front of goal. And I just felt, I was dominating the first half. It just felt like West Ham again, dominant, but nothing to show for it. But you know what? We looked more in control than we did against West Ham. We looked hungrier.
Yep. Complete control.
Everton were poor, let's be honest, but you still have to play against the opposition.
That's right.
We've always been guilty of giving the opposition too much respect. I don't think they gave us enough respect. And that was to our advantage. I think at the end of the day, we took advantage of their lethargicness. No Calvert-Lewin, and we made that count. And I think overall, it's first half we should have been in the front. We had enough chances. I said Lookman should have done better with his chance. And
yes, I agree with that.
That's where Lookman again. We need him to be more clinical in those positions. He needs
totally
to
right, Emilio.
Earlier when he's got the chance. He doesn't do enough for me, to be honest. And he should be an automatic starting player now for us, to be honest. In this run up to the end of the season, we need everyone to be firing on all cylinders. And Lookman, unfortunately, has gone completely backwards in the last month. And I'm picking him out because tell me what good, other than his Man United goal, what's he done this side of Christmas? He's done very little, very little.
Well, we need him to score. It's funny because, again, he's dangerous. And I understand where you're coming on. I just like the two of them down that left-hand side. I see what you're saying because he's just not clinical enough. So you have every right to criticize that. Because it's a lot of huffing and puffing. I think that's where you're going on this.
Yeah, exactly.
But where's the final product? You're looking for the final product, and we have not seen the final product. So fair for you to criticize that. But as we talk about the first half, I want to talk about this because you and I talked about this off air when we talked about Everton, that when we play against teams that don't press us and want to play and let us play, Fulham seem to do well. But what's interesting about this, we really pressed them, Emilio, and we caused them all kinds of problems.
Yeah, and this is the thing we've always said: whenever Fulham are playing against a team pressing us, like Brighton, like something, at the end of the day, we struggle against these teams.
We absolutely struggle against Brighton.
We don't have that nice, fluent passing game that we know that Scott Parker likes to play. We give the ball away more cheaply. But today, we had acres of space, to be honest. And we were, man for man, we were 100 times better than Everton tonight. And we just.
It's just shocking.
Our movement, just look at our movement today between the players. No matter how poor Everton was, but we still had a good movement, crossfield passes. Nice, comfortable. The only thing that made me nervous was Ariel in the first 10 minutes when he had two poor clearances. Other than that, we looked dominant in that first half, and I just said the team looked up for it, and that was a difference. And with Magic can be in the right place in the right time for the next 10, 15 games. Then you know what? This season isn't over yet. So everyone who's written us off can think again, because this is exactly the victory we needed. A springboard to Burnley away. Get something against Burnley, or minimum don't lose against Burnley. That's a minimum. Go and get there, go get the win, and beat Sheffield United. You know what? We're back in the mix.
Absolutely, Emilio. That's how quickly it can change.
The other teams have done that. Burnley and Brighton have won 3 or 4 wins out of 6. That's exactly what we need. We win 3 of the next 4 games, if not more. We're back in the mix again. And we just this result was coming. It's just
I felt it was coming. I was confident going into this, and Giannis and I did a show. We did a preview show. We both predicted a Fulham victory, and it's easy to say, okay, we're going to predict it because Fulham need the points. But I actually believed it. I knew Giannis believed it too. We felt that this was a team that Fulham could play against. And I thought in the first matchup, if they could learn from their mistakes in the first matchup, maybe this is the time where they can make history. And they did.
Yeah.
And they absolutely made history, and they dominated. That's the thing about this. And it's hard not to get too excited, Emilio, because it was that much of a dominating performance. When's the last time we've seen this much of a dominating performance? I wouldn't even think that Leicester City was this dominating like this.
Yeah. Well, look, I'm looking at the comments. I'm being too harsh, Chris Davidson and Lookman. First half should have scored a goal. That goal, if he'd missed that goal, that could have been the difference. Thankfully, we won the game. But it's those chances. We have to take them. He didn't. He's been missing a few chances. So this is a key player for us. He needs to make things happen, like he was earlier in the season. We're not seeing enough of that. So I'm being too harsh on Lookman. Chris, I disagree. If you think I am, then happy to have a conversation offline. But I need a better end product. He needs to release the ball early.
No, I see where you're going on this.
Coming from. He's a big player for us. He needs to be the player he was pre-COVID.
Okay, very good. All right, coming up next, we're going to talk about the second half and what happened with Josh Maja's brace, but it was not just about that. There's a lot more to do with that, and we will finish with man of the match. Okay, Emilio, let's get right to it. Let's not waste any time. And my biggest concern going into the second half, like I mentioned, I tweeted this out. I said, I've seen this movie before, Emilio. I was very concerned at halftime. I tweeted it out. I'm very concerned. But my concerns went away very early on with the first goal from Josh Maja, which is obviously then followed up by the second. But let's talk about both goals and what led up to them, because again, it was all of the complaints that we had in the first half, everything came through in the second half. We were talking about, well, they just don't have the end product. All of a sudden, we have a striker that finds the net twice. Now, again, the second goal, from Maja is coming off of a great shot from Harrison Reed, okay? But still, he's in the right place at the right time. That's what strikers do.
That's what you need. That's exactly
what let's talk about the goals, my friend.
Yeah, and again, I'm going to give Maja a good call out in the first half. I thought he worked hard first half. Good touches, came back to defended a number of times. So,
held the ball up pretty well.
Well, good distribution, looked good. And he was just, it's his first start for the club. He came on as a substitute last week, later in the day, but first start for the club, he did tremendous. Going away against arguably a top 6 team. And he didn't look out of position there, to be honest. He looked
not at all.
This is exactly what we've been crying out for. Somebody who's a poacher. That's what someone saying who's a fox in the ball. Exactly. That's exactly what we need. Someone who knows.
We've been missing that.
He's not got a clinical record for Bordeaux, but look, he's got 2 goals in one game for us today. And that first goal, Lookman was involved. He was involved. It was a great cross from Aina, and Maja, kept himself on side and did what a striker does, a poacher does. He just taps it in the back of the net. Thank you very much. 1-0. Poor Everton defending, but give us some credit. Good movement, good passing, good cross from Aina. Exactly what we've been saying. Look, Robinson tries to do the spectacular sometimes. We do the simple things there. Get the ball. We've said it time and time again. Get that ball in the 6-yard box. Get your final delivery and get that cross in where it counts. And that's exactly what Aina did. And look, it resulted in a goal for Maja. Perfect start to the second half.
Absolutely, Emilio. And what's interesting about this, because they have the lead, and I'm thinking there's still a lot of time left, right? But what's interesting, and anyone that watched it or watch it again, I'm sure you'll see it, and the announcers kept talking about it. They weren't satisfied with the 1 goal. The pressing was still going on. They were pushing for that second goal even after they scored the second goal. But let's talk about the second goal, because, again, it's a poacher's goal because it comes from a great shot from Harrison Reed.
Again, same thing. Harrison Reed had every right to go for that shot. You could see how even the spring in Harrison Reed's step, he covered every blade of grass on that pitch.
He ran it.
Had an offensive threat today. Weirdly, we keep saying Harrison Reed doesn't offer much going forward. He's just there to break up play. But today he was, defensively was outstanding and came forward a lot more positively. And
that's right.
For many games this season, he had a right for that shot, hit the post, and that luck that we've been crying out for. I keep saying we never had luck. If that was against West Ham, you wouldn't know it would have gone the other side of the post. It would have gone wide. But no, it hit the inside of the post. And who was there? Our goal poacher, Maja, again. So right place at the right time. Is that luck turning? That's the thing. It's, there was a couple of moments, there's how many times we've said, damn it, wrong side of the post, hits the crossbar, doesn't go in, off the line. Just felt today, just the rub of the green, slowly going to that off the post, it went right to a Fulham player. How often have we said that this season?
Right.
Never. So it's the Great Escape is on. I see Rob Wilson commenting. And secondly, just those moments of luck, just going a little bit outside. That's what we need. We've been crying out for that all season, and this is maybe, like I said, a springboard for an opportunity to get a Great Escape. It's not quite a Great Escape, but there's enough games here still to get some points. And if we can play as confidently as we have done tonight against other teams, then we've got a chance. But let's not get carried away. It's only 3 points. We've got some big games coming up, but carry on playing like that, and maybe we've got some happier times ahead.
Okay, Emilio. And I keep going back to this because I expected an Everton response in the second half. I guess you could say we had it after Fulham went up 2-0. They had to respond, but it still wasn't this response that I expected. And when you look at it, and I kept hearing over and over again, Fulham are in complete control. They kept saying it. The announcers kept saying, Fulham are in complete control. And when you look at some of the passing, and again, it sounds simplistic to talk about the center back passing, but how about the job from Tosin and Anderson? Some of the passing that they did, some of the forward thinking that they had, and they are your center backs, and they were always looking forward. Watch them. They're always looking forward. Yes, they would pass. They would do the sideways passing, of course, but they were looking for those passes. So that to me is the difference, because when we look at Scott Parker, I think safety first. We've talked about this. Safety first. That's not what we saw today, my friend. That's not at all what we saw. We saw a team that had the ability and the freedom to play their own game to create, and they created a lot.
Yeah, exactly. And I think it's go back to what we said at the beginning. Mitrovic. Obviously, he seems like he's got COVID again. He's picked up COVID again. So, but we didn't miss Mitrovic. At the end of the day, we're a different team without him today. And this is exactly the play that we need. And Kenny Tet, I've been a little bit critical of him in recent weeks.
I thought he was excellent today.
Today he was outstanding, strong, good tackles, little went by him as well. The only time I felt nervous is when we sat back the last 10 minutes. That's when I started, I was still binding my fingernails and feeling very, very nervous. I thought.
Here's a comment from our friend Stefan. We were not in full control in the last 10 minutes. Fair point. We weren't. No. You are right about that.
I felt nervous. It just, like I said, it just takes one moment, a penalty, a VAR decision going against us. But it just takes like a Leicester City game again. We dominated that game. They scored a late goal. They almost could have got an equaliser in the end. So I just get just feeling a little bit nervous. Overall, Scott Parker, we shut shop. We did well, and we controlled that game. So it's the whole team deserves 10 out of 10 scoreline tonight.
Absolutely. I'm going to share this comment from our friend Chris Davidson, because Chris, I agree with you 100% on this. I keep hearing the opposition is playing awful whenever we're in complete control. It annoys me, Chris. It annoys me too, and I've already said that on the show.
And I'm going to shout out to one of my friends, an Everton supporter, Nick Laidlow. He'll be listening to this tomorrow before work. He said to me, "Solid game, but now it's special by your boys." I'm not sure I agree with you, Nick. I thought we dominated. We beat your team hands down, fair and square. So yeah, he's naturally very disappointed about his performance, but ultimately, we did dominate. I don't care how poor Everton were. You still have to go and do a job.
That's right. That's right.
Job.
And again, I don't want to hear the excuses, Chris. I'm with you. Steve Reynolds says, "Was the lineup the sort of thing we need? No Mitro, not missed." You've already said this. Yeah,
absolutely. I think, again, I said to both yourself and Steve Reynolds and Rob Wilson, I wasn't disappointed when Robinson was dropped, because I think his crossing has been very, very poor in good positions in recent. Even before he got sent off against Chelsea, his crossing wasn't good enough, and he's sometimes been a little bit, a bit immature in defence. Giving away possession cheaply and being out of position a few times. Aina looked a little bit more controlled, more comfortable, and we gave Everton very, very little space in those areas. And so I think that's a great change from Scott Parker. So we've got to give him some credit there. I can. So I'll carry on and just reading some of the comments. While Ross, you've got some technical problems there. So Stefan preferred Tet and Aina at the back. Exactly. I think that's what we've said as well. I think at the end of the day, we looked more comfortable and more in control. Colin Fraser, Mitrovic doesn't score those goals. Exactly. That's what we mean. We haven't got a 6-yard poacher in the box. That's exactly the type of play we need. How many chances have we created? Caballero scuffing his shots. Lookman needs to do better. Bobby Reid, again, Bobby Reid, I've mentioned tonight. Yep. He had an outstanding game. He was running. He ran all over the pitch, going left.
He was everywhere. He was
Mario
Lamina ran his socks off.
Mario Lamina, great shot. Someone mentioned earlier, I saw, are we not missing Anguissa now?
That's an interesting. I mean, but this is a good problem to have. But I want to go back to this, because you already mentioned Scott Parker. Listen, what are your thoughts on how he set Fulham up and some of the substitutions that he made? He seemed to hit all the right notes here, Emilio.
Yeah, exactly. I think we were set up more competently. I think the team looked more balanced. Without Robinson in defence, I thought we looked in better shape. Anderson and Tosin were really troubled. Let's be frank. Arioli, what did he have to do? We kept a clean sheet tonight. What did Arioli have to do? I think Everton's
not much. He really didn't have to do much. Just his job. He didn't have to do much.
I think his first save was after about 70-odd minutes. So, and they were the home team. So yeah, it's a weird season. But Scott Parker got it right. I think midfield we looked strong. Loftus-Cheek is growing game by game, especially that first half. Loftus-Cheek had a very good first half. Lemina
still needs that finishing, though, Emilio.
Yeah.
That he's missing that too, along with Lookman.
Yeah.
They're missing that finishing part of their game. If they could, both of them can learn how to finish, with Fulham, then we've got something. Both of them need to do that better because it seems like they have a lot to their game except the finishing right now.
And it also, Loftus-Cheek, that first time, I know it was offside, but he wasn't aware that it was offside. He still went for the goal, and he tried to place a shot, and the keeper saved it, albeit it was offside. So again, that could have been a crucial miss, had we not won the game. So these moments, like I said, Lookman, Loftus-Cheek need to be more clinical because they're getting chances. Cavalier, the same thing. We can't afford to keep missing, but if Magic can be in the right place at the right time, and we keep creating opportunities for him, then there's some positive times ahead for us.
Absolutely, Emilio. All right. Let's finish up our initial reaction show with man of the match. I know who your man of the match is. Everyone watching live, and we have a ton of people watching live, let it rip with your man of the match. Emilio, tell me why it's Harrison Reed. I'm going to say right now it's Harrison Reed as well. We've already talked about it. He was dominant, running the show for Fulham.
And normally, when we played Leicester City, where I gave the whole team man of the match, I remember, rather than play. So, but today I'm going to give it to Harrison Reed. I thought he was quick, he was sharp. He was going forward. He obviously, you could argue, he got an assist for the goal by hitting his shot hitting the post and going to Maja. He had a good long range shot in the first half that went narrowly wide. He was just, his passing, his hunger tonight, his desire was incredible. If he can carry on that level of fitness for the rest of the season, then it's going to be hard to displace him in that midfield. And Lemina complimented him well.
It was a good compliment. I'm glad that you said that.
Them two were passing the ball neatly. Harrison Reed going forward a lot more, and Lemina just sitting back, just polishing up, defending, tackling, and keeping the ball and doing the simple. And
you've had your issues with Lemina, and it's just interesting how the two of them worked so well together.
Yeah. And let's be frank. I'm not. Anguissa was our tower of strength before Christmas. This is what COVID could do to you. So don't forget, guys. Those who are listening and watching us, he had COVID. He caught COVID. He's not the player he was before. So this is how nasty this illness is. I keep going on about it. It's a nasty virus, and if you're suffering or have suffered from it, you're not going to be performing 100%. So it's going to be a while before we see Anguissa, the player he was before Christmas, which is crucial. We need Harrison Reed and Lemina to be playing at full strength. And Tom Kenny's knocking on the door soon as well. He's now back in training. It won't be long before we start to see him. So this is all good for Fulham. Gives us more dilemmas for
more options. More options. Again, when things aren't going right, he can change things. That's what's great about this. But I want to share this. This is from our very good friend and frequent visitor, guest to the show, Rob Wilson. This is from Rob. Lemina plays safe, but worked well tonight. So again, Rob would know, and I trust Rob's judgment. Obviously, he would know. So again, it's interesting when you look at him because I'm a huge Anguissa fan, but Emilio, right now, it's hard to get Mario Lemina out of there. But if anyone that watched the end of the match, let's hope that he didn't come off with an injury and maybe he was, just came off, with maybe just a knock that he could hopefully just work off. But that was the only concerning thing with Lemina coming off. He looked like he was completely spent.
Yeah, exactly. And I think he worked his socks off, and Lemina was just doing the simple things. I think, like Rob said and what I said before, just keep it short passing, keeping it tight. Did you also the thing we noticed how often did we give the ball away cheaply tonight? Very rarely. It felt like Everton were giving the ball away to us, and all we kept doing is getting. All we had is one. We were one way. Heading north all the time, heading towards their goal. We looked more direct for a change in terms of moments in the first half where we were going backwards and sideways, and holding possession. But overall, we didn't give the ball away cheaply tonight, and that resulted in a very comfortable win, and that's important. We can't give a ball against Burnley on Wednesday. That would be a different game.
It'd be a completely different game.
Pressing us, they're more ugly, clearly. So it'll be a different type of game on Wednesday night. But let's enjoy this moment. Let's enjoy this victory, first ever league victory at Goodison Park. And
it's fantastic, Emilio. I'm going to share some of the comments, and it's going to have a theme. Harrison Reed. Okay, it's gonna have a theme because it's pretty noticeable that he was many people's man of the match, and I understand it. And because I went right for Harrison Reed, and I certainly understand that. But like I said, like we're talking about, this was really a team effort, but it was different because there was one person that was really, as I keep saying, really just controlling the play, and it was Harrison Reed.
He was pulling the strings, wasn't he? He was pulling the strings tonight.
That's what I mean.
Not the player you expect to be pulling the strings, but he did. He looked very comfortable, acres of space, and always looking to go forward. And then you had
exactly.
He had assurance of Lamina, who was just mopping up, clearing up, and just doing the simple things behind him. So overall, the team looked much more balanced. Safety first, but obviously very determined to go, to go and attack and press.
But it was confident. It was a confident performance, and it's just so funny because, again, as Chris said, when you look at Everton, they didn't look confident at all. But you know what? Why, Chris, they didn't look confident is because Fulham made them look that way. And when you hear that over and over again, it is annoying, but it does take two to tango.
Yeah.
And Fulham made Everton look bad. And they have a wonderful coach, and they have a lot of wonderful players. I'm sorry, did James Rodriguez play today? Yeah. Did Richarlison play today?
Yeah.
Because I didn't see them at all. Yeah. Again, I hardly saw them. And they have a lot of good players.
Yeah. Yeah.
Where were they, Emilio? Where were they? You have to ask yourself. There's a reason why you didn't hear their names that much.
And
Fulham were dominant.
Yeah, and we were saying this before the show started tonight. It's the odd season this year is the absence of fans at the stadiums. We're all playing on a level playing field. There isn't.
It's an even playing field. You can go anywhere now.
Liverpool, away to Man United. You haven't got to worry about 70,000 fans supporting the home team here.
That's right.
So I think that explains why Everton have had a poor season at home. Why Fulham have had a poor season at home. Most clubs are struggling at home. They're playing better away from home because you've got nothing to lose. You can play, like you said, it's an even playing field.
You can play with freedom.
So you play with more freedom, and that's why I think we've got some better results on the road than we have at home. Tottenham away, tonight. Leicester City. These are games that traditionally we'd get very little from it season by season, but this year we've broken all records.
Yep, and this is the comment that I think says it best. They couldn't break our press, and that's 100% true.
Yeah, and I said Liverpool. Chris saying Liverpool are struggling without the fans. Exactly my point. And they lost a home to Brighton, a home to Burnley. Why can't we go to Anfield and beat Liverpool? You know what I'm saying? If we play like that, we'll beat Liverpool away from home as well. So I'm not getting carried away. I'm just being realistic that we are playing. It's level playing field, home or away, to be honest. So I think we've got to do a job on Burnley on Wednesday. It'll be a different game. It'll be more probably tougher, to be honest, because they're physically a lot stronger and more uglier to watch. But if we just play our normal game, then we can get something from that game as well.
Okay, I'm going to share a couple comments, and then we're going to wrap this up. This is from Rob. We'll have teams looking up now and thinking, hold on, these are a threat. We play like that Wednesday, we win.
Yeah,
and I agree with Rob. I agree with Rob on that.
Yeah, I agree. Got to break that record. There's a hoodoo there. We haven't won at Turf Moor for God knows how many years. Let's go and break that record. Records are there to be broken. So, I'm looking forward to that game on Wednesday. And Sheffield United, I think we've got to Palace after that. So, again, Palace aren't special. I think they're pretty much piss poor as well. So
I watched the Burnley match, and they were horrible. Horrible.
And they're awful. If they haven't got Zaha on the ball, then why should we be worried about Crystal Palace? Go to Selhurst.
We could say the same thing about Newcastle without Callum Wilson. Yeah. And what's interesting, Emilio, we've been just talking about over and over again about how we need a goal scorer. We have Mitro, and now they found someone that can put the ball in the back of the net. Now, obviously, we need to see that a lot more often. But what's interesting about Fulham is that I don't think that they are built around one player. I think some of these sides are built around one player. Zaha definitely on Crystal Palace. I'll say the same thing about Newcastle. I think that they're a poor side. I just think they're a poor side. But again, Fulham are not playing like a team that's at the bottom. They are where they are. The table doesn't lie. But, and that's some of the commentary that I heard after the match from Rebecca Lowe and Danny Higginbotham and Robbie Earl. They were talking about Fulham don't look like a team that's at the bottom. They don't. They just don't look like it, but they needed the victories, and now they got one. They needed a victory. But I'm going to just share this from our friend Gary Cooper. Gary, I haven't heard from you in a while. Question is, can we beat the 3 teams around us in the next 3 games? Whichever way you look at it, it will define our season unless we just beat all the top teams. Well, we just beat one of the top teams. I hear what you're saying, Gary. We do need to win some of these matches. You are right about all of that. But right now, they just need to concentrate on themselves, not worry about the teams that are around them. I know what you're saying. We need to do that to keep them at bay, keep them close. But I just think that Fulham just need to concentrate on winning matches. The next match is against Burnley. That's right in front of them. They need to concentrate on that. And then we followed up with Sheffield United. I don't care who it is right now. They need to look at one match at a time. Let's just concentrate on Burnley. And there's no reason why they can't make history again, Emilio.
Yeah, exactly.
There's no reason why they can't.
And there was always this fear that if we lost comfortably today against Everton, that would have been exactly the worst.
That was going to be it.
Imagine, you go into lack of confidence. Heads drop in front of those 2 next games to coming up, Burnley and.
But now we have the reverse.
Now we've got the reverse. You've got that victory, great victory. We can go there with full confidence. Why can't we go to Burnley win? Why can't we beat Sheffield United? Exactly. Rather than actually coming off a poor performance against Everton, we've actually exactly the victory we needed. The timing is right, and it just felt tonight. I don't know. It's Valentine's. I know people are commenting a bit. It's Valentine's night, and I hope everyone's spending a nice evening with their loved ones. Rob Wilson, hopefully. You can celebrate now with your wife as well, and others as well.
Rob, go enjoy the rest of Valentine's Day, Rob.
Go enjoy your last few drinks for the night, Rob, and others. But overall, that victory is massive. If we can take that performance to Burnley, like I've said, it'll be a much tougher game. They're more physical. They'll press us. They'll make it difficult for us. But if we can rise above that ugly way of playing against Burnley, then who's to say we can't get a victory? Sheffield United, I think we're more than capable of beating them at home on Saturday.
Right. Right. And we will be doing a preview show, and I look forward to doing that on Tuesday. We will do a preview show, and one of the things we'll be talking about is, can Scott Parker learn from the lessons of the FA Cup match, Emilio? Because, again, it's an FA Cup match, but Burnley were the better side. What can we learn from that? What can Scott Parker learn from that and not repeat it at Turf Moor? So a lot of interesting things to talk about upcoming on Cottage Talk. But listen, we do need to wrap this up because it's Valentine's Day. Let's enjoy the rest of our Valentine's Day. For Emilio Danello, I'm Russ Goldman. Thank you, as always, for watching and listening to Cottage Talk.